She has been referred to as the money tree and godmother. Cathie Wood isn't one to shy away from what she thinks to be winning investments for fear of being chastised by observers. On Twitter and TikTok, she's been celebrated in memes and videos. She is regarded for being fearless and pioneering in her financial judgments. Despite the fact that some of her stock's decisions have been deemed foolish, she has had the last laugh by profiting from above-average returns on those same ridiculous purchases. This year, regrettably, is not one of them. Cathie's flagship Ark has been floundering this year, prompting some to wonder if this is the end for the franchise. In this video, I'll discuss the dismal result Ark has received in 2021. If you want to avoid making the same investment blunders that Cathie has this year, watch this video. Even the most experienced of us can make a mistake. In a moment, I'll go through Cathie's historical performance. But first, let me welcome you to our Smart Stocks Academy channel if this is your first time here. Be the first to know when a new video like this is released. Hit the like button, subscribe, and click the notification bell next to it to be the first to know when we have a new video like this. So, let's get to the video as quickly as possible. Let's start with some of the market forecasts she made. Cathie anticipated that Tesla stock would surpass $4,000 per share in 2018. Most analysts said this was a complete farce and that it would never happen. Yet her prophecy came true early this year. Cathie made her first Bitcoin bet in 2015 when the cryptocurrency was trading for roughly $230. This was met with a lot of backlash and outrage. Why would a seasoned investor invest in a volatile crypto when there are plenty of safer options in Wall Street? When Bitcoin reached a high of over $63,000 in April of this year, it astonished everyone. Cathie's popularity skyrocketed as a result of this. Ark made yet another prediction recently. Tesla's new price objective for 2025 is $3,000 per share, according to Cathie. This information is presently being processed by analysts. Cathie also stated in 2019 that a catastrophe would be the finest thing that could happen because in a crisis, technology takes center stage and innovation finds traction. During the lockdown, the pandemic spurred a shift to technology, which was true. Allow me to provide some history on how she started her business. Cathie didn't have the best of starts. Her plan to trade ETFs was initially met with skepticism by people around her. ETFs are exchange-traded funds that trade like stocks throughout the day. Because ETFs are versatile and tax-efficient, they are appealing to a wide range of investors. Demand drives the creation of exchange-traded funds. They remove any ambiguity about why prices rise or fall, which is common in the stock market. All of these benefits were noticed by Cathie, who spotted a loophole that might be exploited or increased profits. Her plan to actively trade ETFs while working at AllianceBernstein was rejected by the firm. The corporation argued that implementing her suggestion would conflict with their other portfolios. This was insufficient to put her off the notion completely. Cathie was so confident that this was the way trade will go in the future that she set up Ark in 2014 to put her idea into action. She did struggle at first with the investment because she was spending her life savings as the first capital. Most critics predicted that her zeal would fade and die, and that the concept would die with her. She eventually raised additional funds from her friend, Bill HWANG, a hedge fund trader. This gave her the boost she needed and she exploded into the scene. Her idea has now taken off and paid off handsomely for her. This elevated her to the status of Wall Street aristocracy. She attracted copycats as a result of her uncanny success. Companies such as BlackRock, which oversees $9 trillion in assets, have introduced solutions centered on robots and self-driving cars. Catherine's flagship Ark has returned nearly 50% over the last 5 years. For an investor, these are not straightforward games. Her track record is impressive. Cathie had a good year in 2020, and in 2020, Ark Innovation increased by about 150%. The fund increased its gains by another 26% at the start of the year. Cathie's flock attracted a new generation of investors as a result of these benefits. The government stimulus checks inspired a generation of young individuals to take up stock trading. Her fan base grew, and tweets about her became more frequent. Wood's popularity grew. Since late 2019, her Twitter following has grown by 28 times. At this point, she is essentially a celebrity. Hundreds of investors bet on Ark flooding Cathie's fund with around $21 billion in 2020. The Ark Innovation Fund increased by more than 350% from its low in March 2020 to its high in February of 2021. Ark was one of the 18 funds to achieve a return of 100% or more in 2020. So far in 2020, 17 of these 18 funds have lagged behind the S&P 500. Cathie isn't alone in her 2021 return retraction. She frequently reminds investors that while electrification, the telephone, and the internal combustion engine were once scorned, they have since become the cornerstone of the 21st century. She swears by technology stocks and thinks that the current drop is just a flutter in the market. She has amassed a following of supporters who are now sharing her thoughts. Cathie claims that these 5 technologies will bring about a major economic transformation: artificial intelligence, blockchain, DNA sequencing, energy storage, and robots. During the shutdown, investors shifted their funds to companies listed on the stock exchange. People shifted their assets from popular value equities to more technology-driven investments as the pandemic's uncertainties deepened. People gradually recognized how much they were beginning to rely on innovative digital goods in their daily life as a result of the lockdown. Cathie had accurately predicted the change, and this resulted in the massive returns of 2020. While other fund managers were battling to sustain a positive return, Ark outperformed them all. This, however, was only temporary. Because of the immunizations, the pandemic receded and the lockdowns were removed. The good old value stocks have made a comeback, and the enthusiasm for speculative technology stocks has subsided. Investors shifted their money to stocks that would profit the most from the economic rebound. All of Cathie's gains from 2020 vanished as innovative stocks got less and less popular. As broad stocks indices continued to rise, she went from being among the best money managers to losing gains she made in 2021. Fears of inflation, she claimed, were to blame for the stock market's drop in the inventive sector, but her outstanding gains had already been realized. In 2021, she trailed the S&P 500 by double digits, barely a year after outpacing it by a factor of 10. Certain critics claimed that she should have known when to sell out of her position since, given the pandemic's first shock, some investments were intended to be short-term. Cathie had hoped that the recent trend toward technology stocks would be long-lasting. Tesla stock has been losing value despite the fact that it is one of Cathie's best performers. In mid-May, Bitcoin likewise plummeted in a single startling morning. Cathie's top performances have been suffering. Now let's take a look at some of the criticisms Cathie has received over the years regarding her investment methods and decisions. Her group. Cathie's Ark team is well known for being diverse, with women and people of color prominently featured. The team, on the other hand, has been chastised for lacking necessarily skill sets to advance this dream of a tech future ideal. The majority of her team is under the age of 35 and has no financial background to justify entrusting your savings to Ark. The analysts who developed the study that receives so much attention online for being far-fetched and bold, but not in a positive way, are the youngest. Tesla. Cathie has been a vocal supporter of Tesla, hailing the company's innovation and claiming that it represents the future of technology. Market watchers believe this is part of her market manipulation, and she has been chastised for it. To be honest, Cathie Wood has always been drawn to new ideas. She claimed that her father drew her to it even when she was just a small child. She was never shy about telling the world that new businesses were the way of the future. However, she recently stated that Tesla may enter the automobile insurance industry. She even claimed that Tesla might become a $23 billion company in just a few years, and this ruffled the feathers of many critics. Some critics claim that Ark is unaware of the extent to which insurance businesses are regulated and what capital standards they must meet. Others publicly dismiss these projections as naive, and it remains to be seen whether Tesla will follow Cathie's advice. Electric vehicles forecasts from Ark. According to Ark, the production of electric vehicles will expand tenfold in the next 5 years. Tesla, as the market leader, will most certainly establish an autonomous taxi network with driverless cars, according to her. Of course, there is still work to be done, and at the very least, if Tesla intends to do so, it hasn't said it yet. Such projections were not well received by critics who accused Cathie of being overly enthusiastic and generous in her pronouncements. Auto analysts couldn't be more opposed to her, but the finance and economics graduate claimed that these groups didn't comprehend Tesla. Tesla is a technological corporation as well as an automobile manufacturer. They were swept aside by her. Bitcoin is a digital currency. A dog might make people spend money, and a Korean Netflix drama could lead to a Ponzi scheme in our planet. Even so, no one expected a Wall Street investor to preach about Bitcoin. And as a matter of fact, she did just that. Bitcoin, according to Cathie, will soon be included in mainstream portfolios such as 401ks and pensions. She even went so far to say that Bitcoin could eventually replace bonds. Bonds are typically thought of as a steady investment that is frequently utilized to protect a portfolio from stock market changes. But Bitcoin is not a reliable currency. In fact, crypto has a reputation for being risky and uncontrolled. Even though Bitcoin is outperforming the others, it is still a high-risk investment. Her words were misunderstood by fellow investors who wondered how you could possibly hedge a volatile portfolio with another unpredictable and unregulated asset. Everything appears to be a little hazy. Her willingness to take risks. When Ark announced that it is now looking at a special purpose acquisition firm, or SPACs, it was met with skepticism. These are essentially cash-only businesses. They too is a fast-rising star in the investment industry. Ironically, the Securities and Exchange Commission has warned investors against investing in SPACs backed by celebrities, including professional athletes. Cathie purchased shares in a SPAC backed by tennis legend Serena Williams in March. To go public, the SPAC combined with a 3D printing company. Its results were underwhelming. She recently stated that she is moving Ark to a more aggressive plan that will pay off in the next 5 years. Some investors are unwilling to wait so long to be her test subject, only to be given bad results and another explanation about how technology will undoubtedly improve in the future. Ark Investments, according to Cathie Wood, have a 5-year time horizon. I suppose it is too soon for her to remark on how horrible this year has been, but critics have said it has been a rocky year for her. Hopefully, some of the stuff she sells will cover a fraction of the loss, for our lovely Cathie's future appears to be dismal. She has a vision and is willing to sacrifice short-term gains in order to realize it. Let's hope this is simply a rest break for Cathie's performance and not her permanent destination. With its disruptive innovation mindset, Ark could be the next Phoenix. So she encourages her investors to keep their faith because the fight is far from over. And with that, today's video comes to a close. To express your love and support for this video, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and click the notification bell next to it to be the first to know when a new video is posted. Thank you for taking the time to watch, and we hope you enjoyed yourself. We look forward to seeing you again soon.